The phone vibrated against the wooden nightstand, a low hum slicing through the silence of the bedroom. It was 2:37 a.m., and the glow of the screen cast jagged shadows across the ceiling. I reached for it, my heart thudding, not because of the hour but because of the name flashing on the display. Elliot. My wife's ex. The man she swore was just a friend now, someone she saw every weekend for closure. My thumb hovered over the screen, the air thick with the weight of a question I wasn't ready to ask. Why was he texting her now? I didn't unlock the phone. Instead, I lay back, the mattress creaking under my weight, and stared at the ceiling fan spinning lazily above. The blades blurred into a gray haze, much like the thoughts swirling in my mind. Sarah had been different lately, distant, her laughter a little too sharp, her eyes avoiding mine when we spoke about her weekends. "It's just coffee with Elliot," she'd said last week, her voice light but her fingers twisting the hem of her sweater. "We're sorting through old stuff. You trust me, don't you, James?" The question had hung between us, sharp as a blade, and I'd nodded because what else could I do? Doubt was a slow poison, and I wasn't ready to drink it. But now in the dark, with Elliot's name burning into my retina, the poison tasted bitter. I rolled over, watching Sarah's chest rise and fall. Her dark hair splayed across the pillow like ink spilled on paper. She looked peaceful, her lips parted slightly, unaware of the storm brewing inches away. I wanted to shake her awake, demand answers, but instead, I slipped out of bed, the cold hardwood biting my bare feet. The phone felt heavy in my hand as I carried it to the kitchen, the screen still glowing with his name. The kitchen smelled faintly of last night's curry, the dishes still stacked in the sink. I set the phone on the counter, staring at it like it might speak. My reflection in the dark window was a ghost. Hollow eyes, unshaven jaw, a man unraveling. I told myself I was overreacting. People texted late sometimes. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was a group chat, a work thing, a mistake. But the memory of Sarah's smile when she mentioned Elliot last week, bright, unguarded, the kind she hadn't given me in months, not at me. I unlocked the phone, her passcode, our anniversary, 0417, a quiet betrayal of its own. The message was simple. "Can't stop thinking about you. Same time tomorrow?" My stomach lurched, bile rising in my throat. I scrolled up, the thread unfolding like a wound. Messages from weeks ago, months even. "Miss you. You look beautiful today. Wish we could go back." Her replies were careful, vague. "You're sweet, but we can't." But they weren't rejections. Not really. Each word was a brick in a wall I hadn't seen being built. I sank into a chair, the phone clattering onto the table. My hands shook, not with anger but with a raw, aching confusion. Sarah wasn't a liar. She was the woman who cried during nature documentaries, who left sticky notes with doodled hearts on my laptop, who promised forever under a starlit sky 3 years ago. How could she be this person too? The one who kept secrets, who let another man's words linger in her heart. I wanted to scream, to smash something, but instead, I sat frozen, the hum of the refrigerator filling the silence. The next morning, Sarah was all warmth, her arms wrapping around me as she kissed my cheek. "You're up early," she said, her voice soft, oblivious to the fault lines cracking beneath us. I watched her move through the kitchen, pouring coffee, humming softly. The sunlight caught the gold in her hair, and for a moment, I could almost believe nothing had changed. Almost. "You got a text last night," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. "From Elliot." Her hand paused mid-pour, coffee dribbling onto the counter. She didn't look at me, just grabbed a towel and wiped the spill with deliberate care. "Oh," she said, her tone too casual. "What did it say?" I studied her, the slight flush creeping up her neck, the way her fingers tightened around the mug. Something about meeting up tomorrow. Same time. I kept my voice neutral, but every word felt like a step toward a cliff. She laughed, a brittle sound that didn't reach her eyes. "He's probably just confirming our coffee. You know how he is, always texting late." She turned to me then, her gaze steady but her smile fragile. "James, it's nothing. You trust me, right?" There it was again, that question. It hung in the air, heavy with expectation. I wanted to say no, to spill everything, the texts, the doubts, the way my heart felt like it was being carved out. But I nodded, because confronting her meant admitting the truth might destroy us. Yeah. I said, the word tasting like ash. I trust you. The day passed in a haze. I went to work, nodded through meetings, but my mind was elsewhere, replaying every moment of the past few months. The late nights she'd come home smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. The way she'd linger on her phone, smiling at something I wasn't allowed to see. The excuses, book club, errands, time with friends, that had started to feel like scripts. Each memory was a puzzle piece, and the picture they formed was one I didn't want to see. That evening, I followed her. It wasn't planned, not really. But when she said she was meeting a friend for drinks, her eyes darting away as she spoke, I couldn't stay home. I tailed her car through the city, the neon lights blurring past, my hands gripping the wheel until my knuckles ached. She parked outside a dimly lit bar, one we'd never been to together. I watched from across the street, my breath fogging the window, as she stepped out, her dress clinging to her in a way that felt like a betrayal all its own. Elliot was there, waiting at a table by the window. He stood when she approached, his hand grazing her arm, lingering too long. Her smile was the one I remembered from our early days, soft, unguarded, alive. They leaned close, their laughter cutting through the glass, and I felt the world tilt beneath me. My phone buzzed in my pocket, her text a lie, running late, be home soon. I stared at it, the words blurring as my vision swam. I could have stormed in, made a scene, demanded answers. But I didn't. I drove home, the city lights streaking like tears across the windshield. When Sarah came back hours later, her cheeks flushed and her excuses vague, I said nothing. I let her kiss me, let her lie beside me, her warmth a cruel mockery of what we'd been. The next morning, I found the note, tucked inside her purse, crumpled and forgotten, written in Elliot's jagged scrawl. I love you. Always will. Leave him. My heart stopped, then shattered. But as I stood there, the paper trembling in my hand, Sarah walked in, her eyes widening as she saw what I held. For a moment, we were frozen. The truth laid bare between us. James, she whispered, her voice breaking. It's not what you think. But it was. And as she reached for me, tears streaming down her face, I realized the real betrayal wasn't her with Elliot. It was me, pretending I could keep loving her through the lies. I turned away, the note falling to the floor, and walked out into the morning light, leaving her sobs echoing behind me.